So, Parker, we've been waiting this entire 54-minute episode to find out where you are choosing to go. We now know for sure that you are going somewhere. Where are you choosing to go, Parker? And welcome back to another episode of When I Grow Up. Something feels a little off. I feel like I'm usually wearing Champion apparel. Like we were trying to get a sponsorship last week.
Yeah, and you came in completely incognito.
Oh, there he is. And welcome back to another episode of When I Grow Up, where we are following the story of the beautiful, talented, majestic Parker McGee, who dropped out of college in hopes of becoming a TSR concrete coatings owner. As you know, the largest residential concrete coating company in the nation, unofficially the world, and unofficially the universe.
Still undisputed.
Undisputed. This episode is brought to you by us and sponsored by TSR Phelps Lakeview Lodge, your relaxation destination.
715-545-2101.
Coach's Golf and Grill, Movement Pain Docs, and Midwest Modern Health, which is actually run by Parker's brother, Dr. Tanner McGee, who is also an entrepreneur himself. We're not sponsored by Chick-fil-A quite yet, but we did receive some pretty cool gifts. If you want to show them, Parker, hold it up, show the camera there.
Good for one free sandwich or grilled or crispy nugs.
So that's not quite a full-on sponsorship, but it's got to count for something. For those of you who listened to the last two episodes, you know what's about to go down today. You probably already have your popcorn popped. You're probably on the edge of your seats as we're about to find out what Parker's deciding to do next. I don't actually even know. Just to be completely clear, I wanted to be surprised. So I'm not aware of what's going on in this episode, just like you guys are. So you're going to have to listen to the whole thing because we're not just going to tell you right in the beginning what's happening, right? Or are we?
I don't know. We didn't have a script for this one.
Oh, good.
Actually,
Okay.
We don't ever have a script, but we definitely don't. We don't have a plan. Tonight, though, we do have Josh Small with us.
Welcome, Josh.
So this is Josh's first time on the podcast, and but Josh was not that long ago in the position that Parker's in, just an unfilmed version of it. So
did it even really happen?
yeah, nobody even knows. But no, it's cool. So part of the idea for filming this podcast was actually based off the experience that Josh had gone through. And by the time it was done and over with, and he was finally in Bloomington, I was like, man, that would have been kind of cool to document. So Josh kind of is season one of When I Grow Up.
Wow.
Unfilmed podcast version. So we'll get some words from him on what it's going to take, from Parker to
Awesome.
have his own, just from a different, somebody else talking other than me, and telling him about it. But then also, give Parker the opportunity to ask questions too. And then eventually throughout this episode, Parker will reveal his choices, which I don't even know, which is a little bit irritating because I like to know in advance.
Do you know, Parker? Just to let the fans know, do you know what your choices are?
No. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna decide here in about 20 minutes.
Live on the show.
Yep.
Okay.
So let's get it.
Let's make sure that's really clear to the listeners right now. So no one actually knows what Parker's officially decided, including Parker. But you're gonna actually decide live on the show.
Yeah,
tonight.
we got a few. I mean, I've shot Jeff a few warehouses and apartments, so we got some sort of idea.
Yeah, but they were like an apartment here and a warehouse here, and I'm like, you can't live in Florida and work in Texas.
Yeah.
You can't have an apartment in Kansas City.
I was just gonna swipe my TSR card for a private plane. So
Yeah. Well, were you?
Can planes pull
bounce.
trailers? All right. Anyway.
No,
Okay.
I actually put a post on my Facebook page. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I had some hats prepared for you.
Yep.
I had a blue and silver and gray one for Dallas. Maybe I had some neon pink for some Miami Marlins, some South Florida action.
Okay.
And then I had a white and red and yellow one for Kansas City. Not to put any hints out there, but I don't know. What do you think about those three?
We were gonna. I was hoping you'd bring the hat so I could just commit live, but it didn't
I was
work out.
going
I guess.
but then I didn't have a lot of faith you'd pick
picking
any
an
of them.
Are those the only options on the table? The ones you just mentioned?
No. Actually, so recently we just opened TSR Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. And Justin Mills is out there right now doing training with our sales rep Tyler there. And, Phoenix is it's a cool place, right? Like right now it's 79 degrees.
it's awesome there.
So everybody's like, well, what was the reason for going to Arizona? And actually I didn't tell Josh, I didn't tell Derek. I actually made a video, like we took one of the ads of Derek and we placed it in Phoenix, and Derek was getting calls at people asking him like when he's moving to Arizona.
His own kids.
His own kids.
daughter.
So, but no, so we just like flipped our advertising around a little bit. So we just had an opportunity to go, and no different than when it came up for Josh to go to Bloomington, or even Derek in North Chicago and in Milwaukee. We just kind of take that chance and that leap, and had a lot of people asking us like why Phoenix, right? And I thought to myself, I'm like, the answer is really like, why not? It's 79 degrees. Like,
Needed to get out of the cold.
it's about to be -5 here this coming weekend. Like, do we really need to talk about an 85-degree swing? Like, so we had an opportunity and we jumped at it, and the people from Arizona and Phoenix have been super supportive of TSR, and so we're really excited. But I think that we should kind of start back with Josh and go to the beginning of his journey and where he started, because they've actually kind of had similar paths, I guess I would say, because they both started in marketing. So Josh, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, so I jumped on and I was in marketing right away, and I learned a lot. Worked a couple home shows even with Jeff and Madison. Got to see him in action. And I learned a lot
Long time
there.
ago.
Yep. And I stuck to his script. I remember one time he told me not to give a price, and this guy got so mad that Jeff even chased him down the runway to talk to him. I remember that.
He told me to fuck off too.
So, but no, yep, I learned a lot in marketing, and then
Well, why don't we give a price in marketing, Josh? It's because we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know the price. And so I kept on telling him, I learned from Jeff on how to talk to the people. And this guy was just adamant about asking me, like, you can tell me a price. And I was like, at this time, I wasn't a salesman or didn't go through that. So I didn't know what the price would be. So I was being truthful. And all of a sudden, Jeff was like, he left kind of mad. Why? And I was like, because I wouldn't give him a price. And Jeff's like, good job. And then why?
Well, because I don't want them giving prices to, the worst thing you can do is set an expectation
and then not
and
be
then
able
not
to
be able
fulfill
to
it.
meet it. Like, that would be awful, right? So,
So then, but after the winter season of the marketing, I ended up being on a production crew with Sean Dunn. I was a third to Sean Dunn and everything, and went through production for quite a few months. I think it was like 3 months. And then the opportunity came that I came to the office to work about 3 days. And I remember one night, me and Jeff were both he was in one office, I was in the other office, and we were booking leads till like 9 o'clock at night and had food delivered to the shop.
yeah, we were competing with each other.
So
we get the most.
And then I was only in there 3 days, and the opportunity came into the sales department, and I jumped on that and started in the sales, and ran with that for a long time. And then the opportunity came to buy in and come to be part of the owner circle, and I took that, and here I am.
Nice.
Yeah, so when you hear that story, Parker and even Cap, who you can't see on the camera right now, it really was about opportunity, right? So when Josh came to work at TSR, I didn't even give him like what you would consider like a good job right out of the gate. I was like, no, you're gonna go work home shows, and it consists of nights and weekends.
Every weekend.
Every weekend for months and months and months, from like November until the end of May.
Dang.
And it doesn't pay anywhere close to what the production stuff. Now you could if you were able to get appointments and things like that. And we actually did really well back then. But looking back at it, it was like I think you had gotten laid off, right? From like he was
Yeah.
doing like the gaming machines, and he had gotten laid off. So luckily for Josh, he didn't have anything to do anyway.
Yep. So no, yeah, and I learned a lot, and I think that's like my biggest journey is like I've done so many different things here, and it's made me, valuable. Like I've had, to go run crews down in Bloomington. I've done the sales in Bloomington. I've had to learn the office. And I think like going through all those steps is what's going to make you a successful owner of your own location, because there's going to be times where stuff can get very hectic and you have to be able to dive in and save the day.
You got to know kind of each
Yep.
step of the process. Quick question for you, Josh. What was the time frame? Maybe you already said it and I just missed it, but what was that time frame from when you first started at home shows and your first job with TSR to even now?
I think it was about a year and a half.
Yeah, it was almost 18 months. So I think he was started in like late November, early December, and then worked an entire year, and then into the next May, and then we started in June. June 1st, I believe, was your first day of running appointments down in Bloomington.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what is your official responsibility now for the listeners and those that don't know you?
I'm the owner of Bloomington, so I handle all aspects of it. So
Something different every day. I
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, when we first started, there was times where I was running leads until 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and all of a sudden I had to run and finish clearing a job. There was one time where, unfortunately, our first installers didn't work out, so I was literally running leads, doing installs, and chasing my tail. And I remember calling Jeff those days, and I'm like, I have a whole new respect for what you do.
Jeff's like, finally, we can be friends now.
Somebody understands.
I think Jeff kind of hit the nail on the head too about talking about opportunity. We might not see it as one right away. You're probably working home shows and you're like, nah, Jeff's an asshole. He's making me work home shows. But no, it's kind of a blessing in disguise. I see a lot of opportunities for me that probably aren't. Driving into Chicago and working for their office from 2 hours is probably not ideal, but I see it as an opportunity to work with other people that aren't related directly to the lean office, and I can see kind of how they do things and what works for them maybe better, what works for them worse. So it's good to maybe always jump on those opportunities, even if they don't sound like a pleasing opportunity right
Yeah,
away.
not the coolest cream of the crop
Yeah.
opportunity at the moment. Yeah.
Well, and I think that Josh was just waiting, in the marketing side of things, like he made his intentions known that he was going to do everything he could on the production or on the marketing side of things, just waiting for a sales rep to mess up. Like he would tell them right to their face, like, which one of you is it?
I remember my first day. So like, there was an opening, and me and Jeff jumped in his Corvette and had to fly to Chicago to get an iPad. And he was like, "You're gonna have 7 leads tomorrow." And I didn't even know the skit. I didn't even know how to run any of the apps. And so we're doing a tutorial in his Corvette, driving back to his house. We go through probably a 30-minute tutorial on how to, kind of set everything, and come up with the price, and pretty much throws it to me. He's like, "Go home, practice, and you'll be at your first lead at 8 a.m. tomorrow." And so I had 7 appointments that first day, and I actually went 7 for 7.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, and those appointments were supposed to go to somebody else the previous day who literally threw their career away.
Oh my god, that's got to be
over a
encouraging.
disagreement.
Yeah, no, it was a blessing in disguise. And
Nothing says fuck you like going 7 for 7 on somebody else's leads.
With just having learned the whole sales process in a car the night before.
Well, but it's passion and drive, right?
Yep.
So I think that a lot of that will come out in the grand scheme of things. Who even knows what that guy's doing today? Like he's, nobody even hears about him anymore. But Josh has went on to, succeed in sales and then succeed in production and then go on and have his own location. And so it's just kind of funny how like one guy threw his career away and
it turned into
maybe that guy would have had the same opportunity maybe potentially someday.
Wow.
And he just absolutely threw it away. So it's kind of funny to see the different mentality, right?
Yeah.
Of 2 individuals who had literally, actually one guy didn't have the same opportunity, but he just took it
because it was available.
which I like. Yeah.
That is so cool. That reminds me of, I've heard there's no such thing as luck. There's just preparation and opportunity. And if you're prepared when the opportunity comes, you hit luck, basically. So that sounds like what happened. You're like, there's an opportunity, I'll prepare tonight, and boom,
Yep.
So for all those that want to say Josh is lucky and was handed, the Bloomington office just because he's Jeff's best friend.
Nobody's ever said that I
Yeah.
have a best friend other than Tyler.
Yeah, nobody said that.
Sometimes Tyler doesn't want to be my best friend.
So for all of those that think that, so Josh, you think you're just lucky? This was just
No.
handed to you?
No, I mean, I think the cards were given to me to learn, and it's been a blessing, to learn from him because the more I'm in this business, the more I realize, like, there's so much to his madness, why he does the things he does. But I just, he told me, like, if I want to get to sales, I need to learn marketing, and then I need to learn production, and if there's an opening in sales, I can have the chance to do that. And then I did, and then there's more chances, and I think it's just working hard. And, if you're given those chances, just strive for it.
It's weird
so
that
cool.
he kind of talked about the cards he was dealt because I just ordered a poster for our apartment that says it's not about the cards you're dealt, but it's about how you play your hand.
Right there.
So
Like the one that's behind you.
I wonder if I'm gonna actually get up and see if I can move the camera to show that poster.
Is that the same poster?
no.
Did you steal the poster?
Mine's way cooler.
Yeah, I'm moving the camera right now. This has never happened before on the show, but that is the exact.
It's literally behind you.
That is amazing. Yeah. Okay. All right. Back to the show.
No, I was actually thinking this a few nights ago too. I was like, we were actually sitting with two of our buddies in the apartment. I'm like, dude, isn't this so weird? Like how we got here. I'm like, COVID hits. Like everyone's all bummed out, and I'm like,
Worst year of my life.
Then I dropped out of college, and then I'm like, and then for me to, this is kind of an off topic we haven't really talked about, but I actually invested my whole savings account into the stock market, and I would be nowhere near the 40K to buy in if I didn't hit it decently lucky in the stock market too. So I'm like, it's just such a wild ride of like
How it all lined
so
up.
much shit just went right for me, and then
You
we
think
are-
that's all luck?
we're here.
Parker. All of it.
preparation.
Nice. That's what I was looking for.
Well, no, I mean nobody's sitting at this table if Tyler doesn't leave Illinois, go to Arizona, and then want to come back. And me and him have a conversation over the phone where we're like, let's create a job for you, bro. So there's all of like, and from that, there's spurned over 100 new careers from that one conversation previous to that, right? And like, if Tyler never goes to Arizona, 5 years ago, none of this happens.
Wow.
So
What is the backstory on that? I don't think I know that.
So he had his father had passed away, and so one of their dreams was always to go to live in Arizona, and so he just did. YOLO,
Wow.
I think that's what you guys call it, right?
This is Tyler, your business partner,
Yeah,
co-owner of
yeah.
TSR.
Yeah, and so he just like bought 40 acres out there and moved out there, and then decided he didn't like it that much and came back.
Wow. Okay, that's cool.
At first, when I seen Arizona pop up and I didn't know anything about it, I was like, wait a minute, is Tyler going back to Arizona?
No, he's not. He's not.
But there's another person named Tyler there.
Yeah,
right
there's
now.
another
That's
person
why I was
named
confused.
Tyler.
I'm like, Tyler?
Yeah.
What?
I feel
So
like when
many Tylers.
people get hired here, it's like their name's Tyler. What's the other name we have a lot of? I feel like there's another one.
Boof.
You got
probably.
Sean's.
No,
You got a lot of Sean's.
Yeah,
A couple Kyle's.
Sean's.
Everybody's got to have the same name. We're
Those
gonna start
basics,
turning people
those-
down based on their name. Like, we're gonna have to call you something different.
Are you willing to change your name, please?
Yeah, because it's confusing.
Yeah.
Hey, there's only one Parker though, Joey.
That's true for now. But yeah, so Parker, Jeff mentioned a couple of the different locations that are potentials and some that he was leaning more towards hoping you'll choose. I don't want to give away the answer right now because we're only 20 minutes into the show. But if you want to lay out kind of some of those locations again, just kind of bullet point them real quick for the audience to remember, and then we can kind of discuss what our
Well,
thoughts are.
I think that what we should do is talk about what makes a location desirable, right?
Yeah, great.
So first and foremost, I have an algorithm that's built for our digital marketing side. So what we do is we plug it in and we see how many potential returns it sends back to us.
Okay.
And some are better than others, obviously. And there's a few places that we wouldn't go no matter what, right? But so that's the first and foremost. So whatever he decides, I have to plug it in and see where it comes back at.
Like, see if it makes sense for the. Yep.
Yeah, see if it makes sense for us. But then we have to talk about like what's warehouse space? Is warehouse space available? What is a cost per square foot for a year? Like that was, I know when Josh was searching for a warehouse space, like he was just like, man, this is crazy, because at the time there wasn't a lot available.
No,
right?
it was either way too small or way too big for what we need.
What do you guys pay for dimensions too? Also, do you know?
So our shop is 5,500 square feet, and we pay 2,400 a month.
And it's comfortable with 5,500.
Yeah. We have a lot of office space, probably a little more office space than we need, but we definitely needed. I think we started with like a 1,200 square foot shop, and we outgrew it within. I think we hit our fifth crew in a year.
4 minutes. Well, that's why we don't even consider anything under 2,500 square feet anymore. When we start an office, it's not even, because the growth to 2 to 3 trailers is so fast for us, that we don't even, like in Arizona, it's 5,000 square feet.
Nice.
Like that's the minimum that we're looking at, because I know that by the time I drop, X amount of pallets worth of material there, and then we get trucks, trailers, vans, whatever
It's
we
full.
choose. It's full.
Yeah.
And to try to operate out of a 2,000 square foot place with 2 or 3 trucks and trailers just doesn't make any sense.
No, we had 3 crews, and we had like trailers stacked in there for the first year. It was I didn't really think about. I mean, it's something probably. Definitely why you're going to go the route, go bigger, faster, because you will run out of space fast.
Yeah, and I think it's good for. We already we just saw the Madison warehouse, but that's 6,000, right? And I think that might be a little big. You could probably manage with a little bit something smaller, but that's definitely comfortable, I would say. We only have 1 truck and trailer right now, but you can visualize.
Yeah, you could fit quite a bit more in
five
there.
trailers in there.
Yeah,
So
but, we're planning on having at least a van up there by May, and the goal is that we're going to try to shift some of our Lena manpower, to the Madison location, because so that way we're not driving up there quite so much. It was actually funny. So when Josh was a sales rep in Madison, and as he was transitioning into production and then ultimately leaving to go to Bloomington, so he actually lived in Madison. I was like, man, we're getting so many leads up here. I'm like, we just go move there. Like, so he just went and lived there.
Nice.
So part of it is like doing whatever it takes, right?
He's willing to do it.
Yeah, you have to be willing to do it. I mean, not that having a family is a bad thing, or having 2 or 3 or 4 kids, but I mean, you're stuck. To a certain degree, right? If you own a house, he didn't own a house that he had to live in that house. Like, Parker is very mobile. He can move if he needs to. So I think there's some advantage to these guys that don't have, like strong roots where they're at. That, granted their families are here, but they can pick up and move. You were having dinner with your mom and dad before you came in tonight for the podcast. Like, it's 2.5 hours for him to drive back here.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for making the drive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No, I'm saying just for Bloomington. Well, he was
Yeah.
he was in town today anyway, but
Oh, cool.
I'm just saying, like, it's not that far.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that maybe there are some markets closer to here that, might, because Parker's a mama's boy, might seem more attractive on the front side for him.
Yeah, so things to consider. We've got cost of warehouse, size of warehouse. Is the market the right demographic? Does it plug into your algorithm? Does it make sense? Can we generate, profitable leads, profitable business, similar to what you're doing? So you want to replicate what's working rather than try new things.
Well, we have 6 offices where, it's a little bit like, because we want the same user experience for all of our customers, right? I mean, it's a little bit like McDonald's in the sense that, like, this is how we make the French fries, guys.
Yep.
And if I ever catch them making the French fries a different way, I smack them, and then we go back to making the French fries the correct way. So
exactly how McDonald's is operated.
I mean,
Top-down CEO does that.
yeah. We smack their hands a little bit, and then we get back to making the French fries with the correct amount of salt. And I think that if and you look at the big corporations, McDonald's is something, places that have many locations.
Right.
One of the things that you'll notice about them is that your user experience is generally very similar at every single one of them. So if Parker was to go to a Cheesecake Factory, the chances of him getting the same shitty service he originally got would probably be pretty good.
Yeah.
But at Chick-fil-A, it's the same.
it's the same across the board.
Beautiful
Excellent.
everywhere. Yep. You know it. You trust it.
Exactly. That's why we keep going back.
That's awesome.
And they gave you all of these cards.
Yep.
Yep, small flex sponsorship. A little bit.
But I think that the key is that creating that same user experience for our customers, from the way that they're marketed to, for the way that they, all the calls come into here, which is, a benefit. So Josh, kind of explain exactly what it is that you do in your market and what is it that you don't do. What don't you take care of?
Oh, that's good. I want to know that.
Like from when I first started.
Well, no, just like to right now, like your business, like what's taken care of here and what's taken care of. What is taken care of in your office? So what's the benefits of having a home office, if you will, back
Like
here?
a headquarters.
Oh,
yeah.
headquarters.
So I mean, what's really nice too is about us being so close. Like I'm always a reach away. Like there's been time where I've been short on product and stuff, and I've came up here. But we have our own office. We have our own office girl that handles payroll. The day-to-day operations.
Yeah, Holly does a great job.
Yep, very very good job.
Meeting with Holly Friday. Holly actually put her 2 weeks in.
Hoping maybe we can save it. Maybe we
Okay.
can save it.
Yeah, Holly, we want to keep you at TSR. We like you a lot. Just so you know, shout out on the podcast. And
I'll even
if you
give you,
if you go back and work at State Farm, I'm dropping our insurance with them.
and I'll give you both of these cards for lunch.
Take them down to it tomorrow. That's great.
I will. But no, so we have an office person now, since we got big enough, and that's helped out a lot, the day-to-day operations. And then in our shop, our crews start and end their day at our shop. So all, the pay from the jobs and everything, the money gets collected every day. And, it's very
But it
nice.
wasn't always like that, right? So,
Nope.
So every time an office starts, we run all of the administration back here at home. So Josh, actually, when he went down there, he literally had to focus on two things: production and sales. That was it. All of the marketing, all the administration, all the banking, everything. Literally, they would just mail the checks back home, back here to this office, and we would take care of it for them.
That's awesome.
Until such time that it got big enough that, yes, we already had a warehouse and everything down there, but it got to the point where it was really just made sense that we had to put somebody in that particular office.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And it's just growing on scale. And how do you scale? And we get a lot of people that ask us questions. Well, how do you scale? Well, it's baby steps,
You scale one step at a time, one piece at a time. Yeah.
one person at a time.
So what currently does the headquarter office here still support you guys in?
A lot of the marketing, all the marketing, and then also, so like the booking of the leads for our salesmen, those, the girls that do that are still here at this office. So, that's still handled up here. So really she handles, the day-to-day operations, the books and stuff like that. But like the leads that come in are still generated from the Lena office.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Every call, because it's just easier from a phone center standpoint. And also for our existing customers calling in, needing service or whatever, maybe they want to do another project. It's just easier for everybody to call in to the same place.
Yeah, that makes
And then we actually have a little call center. There's 4 or 5 desks in there. And it's nice to have all of that back here. So he takes care of sales and production, and then we take care, and now his own administrator. So, it's every one of our offices is divided into 4 sections, and that's administration, marketing, sales, and production. Now in his office, he's taking care of 3 of those 4.
Wow. So that's a really big benefit of partnering with TSR if you're given the opportunity, like Parker may be given the opportunity, that you're not just starting your own business from scratch. You've got all these. Not only do you have the blueprints, the processes, the ways to scale, the ways to grow. Jeff, Tyler, all the other owners like Josh and Derek, I think is the other one. So you've got all these guys you can learn from and glean from, but you also you don't have to generate your own leads, at least at the beginning,
Nope.
or if ever. Because you've got that kind of locked down, and you can create the ads, you can generate the leads, and you can even schedule the appointments right from one central call center and then send them out to the the location. That is incredible.
And as you say that, Joey, I'm sure a lot of people are thinking that that's fairly easy then. Would you, it's still,
is it?
still pretty hard then?
Yeah, because you still have to close the sale, though, right?
Oh yeah. To like the start of your location, like
It's miserable.
Yeah,
It really is. It's not fun.
No. Yeah, there's some war stories. My first year, a lot of war stories. When we first started, I did the sales, and we brought a guy down from the Iowa area to, he was a second. He became my first. Well, all of a sudden, I'm getting callbacks and all of a sudden, I'm like, oh no, this isn't going good. So all of a sudden, we had to make a position change, and I had he was a third, actually. My first crew, he's a third. I pushed him to sales, and then I went and took over the production team, and I ran the crew for the next 3 weeks. Where there was 2 weeks straight where I was doing the job that was scheduled, and going and fixing something until like 9-10 o'clock at night. I remember I had one guy with me, and we did 4,200 square feet in 2 days.
Oh my goodness.
And
unreal.
I don't know who did this concrete, but there was 54 expansion squares in this.
Got a little crazy with the saw.
Yeah, it was, but I kept telling myself like, hey, this is what you signed up for, it's make or break it. But there was some hard times there. And then my first winter, when people think that companies just have an infinite bank account, well, they're wrong.
No, so we have a really funny story. Well, it's funny now. It wasn't funny. It wasn't funny then. So
I will cry to Jeff.
Yeah. So I think it was like the third week in February last year. I was like, "Hey, Josh," I call him. He answers. He's pretty happy. I'm like, "What are you so happy about?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't know." He's like, "Is something wrong?" And I go, "Yeah. You have $4,000 in your bank account, and you have a payroll of $6,000 next Monday." This was Friday night. I go, "You need to find $2,000 between now and then." I mean, these are the stories that, like, in entrepreneurship, because we talk a lot about entrepreneurship on this podcast, that nobody ever hears about. So Josh went out and sold a $16,000 job the next day.
Wow.
And got paid 100% up front.
Wow.
It was a very scary time of my life.
But you did what it took.
But
Yeah.
did exactly what it took and made it happen, right? So, like, I mean, if you're a listener, like, if you're like a customer, you're like, oh my God, like, how do you, like, that, like, if you think that some of the places that you buy from on a daily basis didn't have a story like that, didn't have a grassroots, we'll call it, story, then you're crazy. And just, this entire company, I mean, we started in a quarter of my garage. Like,
That's so wild.
And I think it, where he's in a substantially better financial position, this year than he was last year. And our anticipation is next year he'll be in an even better financial position as they move forward. So it's been nice to see the progress moving forward. And it's funny because the guy that he was talking about moving from a third to being a sales rep was actually the number one sales rep for TSR last year.
Wow.
Coming from production.
Wow.
He was a blessing.
So that was a good move on both parts for that time.
Yes, yeah, it was. He's been a blessing. He sold, I think it was like
1.8 million.
Almost 1.9 million in coatings last year.
In 1 year?
Yeah.
And you know what's great? So it's not even, take the sales volume out of it because none of that's irrelevant if he pissed every person off, right?
Yeah, true.
Customers absolutely love him. I mean, Garrett does such a good job with the customers and his follow up with them and just making sure that they're happy. And then even after the jobs are done, just staying in touch with them. I mean, the guy's follow up game is second to none.
Wow.
He stole my game.
Yeah.
I was the callback king.
Callback king. Yep.
When I was in sales,
I think that's a good thing in sales. It's
That's
a bad
good.
thing in production.
yeah.
Parker's like, why are we talking about how great being a
Yeah.
callback king is?
So he had no prior sales experience really at all. But I got to know him and I was like, I think he would be really good. And so when we moved him over, I kind of taught him like how I did callbacks. And man, he took my callback and just perfected it. I mean, he was developing his own callback emails with like pictures of projects and like follow-up paragraphs, and like he just impressed me so much.
Just took ownership of it. That's cool.
And it generated a lot of, in the home improvement business, it's like self-generated sales, right? So like sometimes the way that you can grade a sales rep is like, like how well does he talk to people that they're talking to enough people about him that they refer people to him. So creating self-generated referrals is huge.
Wow. Well, listeners, I want you guys to know this is all very important to hear. Josh is on the show tonight to kind of give you guys a little bit of a picture of what Parker's journey is about to start looking like if he decides to stay with the company. We don't know. He may decide not to on this episode live in just a few minutes. But, so Josh, all this backstory is very, very important. Josh, thank you again. The show's not over. We're not done listening to you, but thank you again for just being so open and honest to share some of those hard times that you actually went through, because I think Jeff is completely right. A lot of times people, hear this show and they hear other shows like it and they see how many locations TSR has. Oh, they just expanded to Arizona. And it just sounds so casual, Oh, they just opened another location. They must have unlimited amount of money. But hearing from you right now, it even opened my eyes. Like, oh, this dude was down to his last $4,000. Like,
he was actually at negative 2,000,
and that wasn't even that long ago, right?
And I had just moved. I stuck every single dollar I had to investing in this. Like, I was 100%. My life was all in on this.
How long ago was this?
It was a year ago.
Wow. So that's just a year ago. And Parker is not even at that stage yet in the TSR world. And so,
well, then it was even like harder, right, Joey? So
yeah.
So imagine having, do you know why businesses end up selling shares and things like that? Like why they raise debt?
Generally for cash flow to fund things, right?
Exactly. So we don't do that. We struggle and we grind until we can afford it ourselves. Okay. So when you hear about these companies like sending off like Series A rounds and things like that, it's because they can't generate enough revenue and cash flow to fund themselves to grow. I don't let these guys do that. They're required to grow to their 5 trailers on their own.
So these are debtless embarkings, basically.
Yes.
That's awesome, because then you don't have all that pressure.
We
Well,
started.
it's a different kind of pressure.
Yeah, I feel like it's more healthy though. Like rather than
How much character do you have? A lot of character now.
A lot. I think that in the means of business, I've learned a ton and I've grown a lot, and I've seen a lot. And now I understand a lot of the reasons. Working for Jeff before I became, an owner with him, I didn't understand some of the reasons why he did stuff or why he would do stuff. And now being on this side of the fence, like, I think I talk to him at least once or twice a month. And I literally tell him when I first talk to him, like, I understand why you do this. I understand like why you do this. Like, I'm still learning, and I'll, obviously I'm going to continue to learn.
yeah.
But
We've had a few "I told you so" moments. Like Josh, that's not going to work. It's going to blow right up in your face, and he's like, "I think I'm going to do it anyway."
Yeah, going from one truck and trailer, and like you said, we don't have funding behind us like that. We, it's directly from ourselves. So I went from one truck and trailer to 5 truck and trailers in a year. And then when I got out of winter last year, my bank account was nothing. And then all of a sudden I started the season and I was selling more jobs than I could install. And all of a sudden,
well, it's a whole nother problem, right? And that's And so Joey, and we only take a 20% deposit. There's a lot of companies out there that take it's between 20 and 30%, depending on if it's a pool job or something like that. But between 20 to 30% deposit. So what do a lot of companies take, Parker, as a down payment?
I wouldn't know.
I feel like 50. Yeah,
50.
Yep.
Most companies take 50%
to be able to cash flow the job.
Exactly. I don't allow these guys to do that.
What's your reasoning behind that?
Yeah, so
What?
we're behind technically before we actually complete the job.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're down. You're upside down.
Yeah,
in
we're
the beginning.
upside. I force them to be upside down on the job, right on the front side, because I never want to take. If I'm a customer, it says a lot more to me as a homeowner that these guys don't need my money. The 20%,
Yeah.
the 20% is literally only to hold their spot in our schedule. That's it.
That does make sense because like when I think 50%, I'm like, oh, these people are desperate for money, you know, like, but yeah, 20%. Oh, it's a big company. You know, I can trust them. They're doing a lot of business, it seems like, and they don't need my money right up front. Although you might, but they don't know that.
Yeah, but it was
That's cool.
literally
That's brilliant.
It forced us. It forces every location. Doesn't matter if it was Lena or you know Bloomington or wherever Parker's going. It forces every location to be fiscally sound, you know, and make strong financial choices. And they're not just throwing money away. You know, so I always hate when I like see like these venture capitalists come in and they just pour millions and millions of dollars into these companies
Shark
that have never
Tank.
made a dollar, right? And I'm like, they haven't even figured out how to make money, David. They haven't figured out how to make money. Why would you give them more? They don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, and like why would I invest more in Josh or invest more money in Parker if
That's
they
really smart.
if they couldn't figure it out to some degree, right?
Yeah, and if it hadn't worked time and time again, like you've proven it does, I would probably say that's a bad idea, but it clearly works really well. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I know we're 40 minutes into the show, folks, and I know not the only reason you guys are here is to just hear what Parker's going to do, but I know you want to know. I know we haven't heard a lot from Parker, but we've heard from future Parker. And
Past Parker, I think.
yes. So this is past Parker, but what Parker is going to look like in the future. Probably not as big of biceps, but maybe, depending on how many installs he still has to keep doing.
Yeah, it depends what kind of money I'm making, what kind of food I can actually afford. So
What kind of protein you
Yeah,
can
we'll
get.
Doesn't really matter. You're gluten free.
yeah.
So
That's
Parker,
true. That's true. I'm gonna eat
wanna
my
know-
front lawn. So
we want to know. Jeff kind of told us, you know, here's all the things we got to consider. So we as the audience, the listeners, we know what we need to consider. So we're all equipped to know how to judge starting a new TSR location. All of us know that now. Now we want to know, where do you want to go? And I don't want to just know the final destination. I want to know, what are the options? What are the pros and cons of those options? Why did you choose those options? And then in about 10 minutes, let's say, we will all be finding out what the final decision is.
So right away, right out of the gate, we brought up, Jeff kind of brought up Des Moines to me. Well, he brought up Kansas City first, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I could kind of, that's intermediate. It doesn't get too hot, too cold. So I was like, that might be nice. And then we kind of brought up Des Moines, and I'm like, oh, that's close to my parents. Maybe I am a mama's boy. No, but
You are.
there were so that kind of sounded interesting. My sister actually lives out in Des Moines, Iowa,
cool.
with Michael Packard. She'll probably end up getting married to. So there's I got relation out there. There's benefits of everywhere I've looked. Texas has been brought up. Florida's been brought up. I was dead set on Florida right out of the gate. Then I just kind of started weighing my options a little bit more, and I'm like, yeah, that would be nice, but maybe this place would be nice. So it's been a battle in my mind for sure between all these different locations. I've done some research, looked up pricing. You know, you got to know how much it's going to cost to live there, and if we can afford the warehouse like we talked about. So I would say there's kind of a few in mind. I would say Austin, Texas, Des Moines, Iowa, and I would say those are probably my top two.
Top two.
Yep.
Wow.
Top two.
Well, we
Very,
just got it narrowed down from like 7 that Jeff mentioned to 2. Wow.
Polar
Okay.
polar opposites too, considering I'll be wearing a coat and then no shirt in the other climate. So
So what are the big benefits of Des Moines? You mentioned your family. Are
So-
those kind of what if your family wasn't by Des Moines?
So I've always, my parents are like, go do, we're gonna be there no matter what. You go do what you need to do, and I think all my siblings are like that. But like I said, it would be nice to be, if I need to come home for my dad's birthday or maybe Jeff's birthday. No, but it's nice being right here too, because if something does major or drastically happen, I can call Tyler up and be like, hey, I need need to come back and we need to figure this out. So that would also be nice too. But dealing in the winter at TSR is not fun either. So being down south would also be a lot of fun. But I would say there's definitely benefits of both, and
Okay.
there's disadvantages of both for sure.
What are your thoughts, Jeff?
You ain't trying to make it easy, that's for sure.
You won't get to see me if I'm in Texas. So
I was thinking when he said Austin, I was like, I mean, there's this other city called Dallas, and it's a lot easier to market there.
Dallas is like 5 hours from Austin, though, still, isn't it?
no, I think it's even closer than that. I want to say
Maybe
like,
3 or.
I want to say like 2:15 or so.
So let's talk about it.
All right.
Google Maps it.
My
Austin to Dallas. Let's go.
Austin
Let
to
us know
Dallas.
the distance.
Put it up on the screen. Run it back, David.
Yeah.
So let's talk about why Austin? Why not Dallas? Why not Houston? Why not a bigger city? What is your thought process on Austin? And based on what we've already done, our 7th location being in Phoenix, why Austin?
I'd say right out of the gate, and one of the first things you told me was, we can make it happen wherever you want to go. Obviously, I'm not going to go to Canada or something stupid like that, but
Whoa! We got a lot of Canadian listeners
2 hours and 50 minutes.
so almost 3 hours.
to Dallas.
And
Dallas to
I
Austin.
just looked up Austin, Texas is the fastest growing city in the United States of America.
Yeah.
So we can first.
Trying to meet a new girl down there or something?
First thing I saw, I was like, I want to see myself being able to live there, financially and just my personality. I want to fit in.
You want there to be stuff to do that you enjoy. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Exactly. So I've heard really good things about Austin. I used to play a lot of travel basketball, so I've been down to Austin. I've been down to Dallas. So both those cities interest me. I've just heard a lot better things about Austin, I guess. So we might have to make a trip and
So
see.
what's the travel time to San Antonio?
About an hour and
From Austin.
30, I think.
Yeah, so I think that when you look at putting a location in, everybody's like, well, why start in Lena, right? Like everything you're talking about, it's bullshit. 'Cause Lena's halfway to the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
Hour and 21 minutes.
Yeah, so
We
what
got Josh on fact checks today.
factcheck.com. So when you look at putting an office together, it's important that there's at least some population base, close to us. Like here in Lena, we have Cedar Rapids, we have Quad City, we have Madison, we have Rockford, and we have some population. Like I always say, Lena's halfway to nowhere, but it's 2 hours from anywhere you want to be.
That's true.
If you really think about where we're at, so. And it's an ideal place for us. It's ground zero, right?
Yep.
As far as our company's concerned. But then you go out into North Chicago and Waukegan, where Derek's at, and then he's literally so close to Milwaukee, like so close. Like it's just Derek is within an hour of like 7 million people, I think, when you include like Chicago and Milwaukee and everywhere he's at. So there's population base, right? And I think that we learned this a little bit with Josh going to Bloomington. Bloomington is a fairly good sized metropolis. I would say there's quite a few people there. And then we have Peoria and we have Springfield and Champaign-Urbana where U of I's at. And but it's probably per capita our smallest area.
That's going to be funny someday when you've got all these TSR locations popping up in these big cities, and you're like inviting the people who want to become potential owners to come check out the home base in a cornfield.
Yeah.
Behind
They're like, how do we get here? Well, 2 hops and a skip into Chicago, and then you need to take a little puddle flight over to Rockford, and they have to fly out here. It's crazy.
Go right past Sullivan's Foods.
Yeah. What is that? It's by Casey's. Casey's?
What's a Casey's?
But anyway, yes.
No, so yeah, but it's interesting to see that, and then we have a warehouse in the Quad Cities, that services Quad Cities in Cedar Rapids, and so I think that I've told Parker we can make it work anywhere. I said if you want to go to Alaska, I go, you've done a good job. I'll send you to Alaska. It was banishment. But, I think there is some merit, and I think there's a reason why Austin is the fastest growing city in America. There has to be industry there. There has to be housing. There has to be warehousing. all of the things that we talk about that we're looking for have to be there in order for that to be the fastest growing city. So I think it's not a bad play.
Wow. So we got Austin, we got Des Moines.
I wouldn't take Dallas off the table either.
Okay.
I wouldn't. I would. I mean,
Well, you're
I
gonna
would-
have to take it off the table in about 5
But
minutes.
it sounds like you're really leaning towards just the state of Texas in general, though. I
It
mean, is
does. You got two weights in the state of Texas and only one in the Midwest.
I would just say more so of a southern area in general, just because it's winters. I can't even express through my emotion through this camera how
try.
not good.
Try it right there.
You don't want those. You don't want those Februarys I had to deal with.
That is so not fun
But
here
you
in
never
winter.
get a break.
But
Right?
on the flip side, if we were in Des Moines, and as an owner, I wouldn't be actually probably doing floors every day. So that would, I mean, there might be some benefit
downtime.
of slowing down and spending
Yeah.
time eventually when you have a family and stuff like that. But
it is. I will say it is nice to have a little bit of a break. I mean, not that we're not. I mean, we've been. What you guys see? I mean, we've been redoing our trucks and our trailers. I mean, we've spent tens of thousands of dollars getting everything rewrapped, and it's just nice to like take a breath. Meet with the guys. We did reviews. We were able to just take a look at our equipment, right? I mean,
Yeah, that is really
so
nice.
we were actually talking, and you said you were going to call him out, but like Derek's equipment in some of his trucks and trailers, wasn't really like up to your standard, right?
yep.
Okay. Well, and what my response back to you was I was like, well, Derek, the way he planned his work schedule, he has had zero break yet. So the break that our office took literally right before Christmas, and we've been on kind of like a 30% run, like 30% capacity of what we normally would do. Derek went literally hammer down,
Full fledged.
Like he hasn't lifted, and so he hasn't got the opportunity to work on his stuff, and he needs to.
Yeah. So, but wouldn't that be kind of a benefit for a new location to not have that downtime? Because then you're not like, going through a couple months and your bank account's being drained.
Well, yeah, the funny thing about overhead is it actually doesn't stop.
It does not.
Like you said just
For some reason, rent is still due.
Didn't you know though we're slower though? Didn't you? The landlords don't know that.
Yeah, when you don't have money coming in, it's going out. It leaves that bank account really fast.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Oh,
Then,
go ahead.
Then you see Jeff's name coming on your phone all winter, and you're like, "Oh, is this the call?"
Well, and, we track things like that. We track how many installs we did the year previous versus how many we're doing now, and what can we do better. I think that it's innovation. It's always innovation. We're always pushing forward to make sure that we can be the best TSR location for our customers. And I'm pumped that you want to go to Texas. I'm excited. I'm excited for warm weather. I know Sarah. She's probably gonna have. She'd be like, maybe we ought to go see Parker. See how Parker's doing. She's not gonna wanna stay up here in the cold weather either. Now that we have some warmer office locations. But I think that you're right. I think that Austin is solid. I think that you shouldn't count Dallas out either, though. And it's something that you need to go visit.
Should we flip a coin then? No, I'm just kidding. So he needs to visit these locations
I think you should
before
yeah.
he chooses.
Yeah.
So I just lied to the whole audience, and they made it this far. I'm so sorry, guys. I told you we were going to be finding out the final destination on the show, but we got it narrowed down from 10 to 2, 3.
We're going to Texas.
We're going to Texas.
going to Texas.
Okay, so that's awesome. We're going to Texas. It doesn't matter which Dallas or Austin, because none of you guys are there.
He
So
totally left his sister behind.
dang. We are
Is it
going
the snow?
to
It's got to be the
Texas.
snow, isn't it?
It's just Texas is always a place. So every time I visited for basketball, it's like there's good food, good people. It's an awesome place. It's warm. Ocean's right there. I mean, you can't. All those things I listed don't sound
Yeah.
bad, do they?
No. I've been to Austin's actually. I was just there at the beginning of 2020 with Alex and Emark and my wife, and it was awesome. You're right. You're pretty close to a lot of beaches. You're kind of close to like Corpus Christi and the Gulf of
Yep.
Mexico beach and stuff like that. But one more time, just in case I want to use this for the intro, I'm going to ask the question again and pretend like I don't know the answer. All of us are going to do it. Ready? So, Parker, we've been waiting this entire 54-minute episode to find out where you are choosing to go. We now know for sure that you are going somewhere. Where are you choosing to go, Parker?
I'm going to Texas, Joey.
Texas.
Let's go!
For all of you fans who just saw that happen, you'll thank us later. That is so cool. We're on episode 13. What are we on? 13. We're on episode 13 of When I Grow Up, which is actually kind of wild. And we've gone so far. Like, we've come so far in just this short period of time. We've gone from him, as you guys know, he started just doing some Facebook marketing, Facebook posting for Jeff in his college dorm room. Then he dropped out of college. Then he started just learning with Wink and with Nate and the van crew. And then he got his own office with Cap. And, it's not technically his own office. He's not an owner, but he is kind of having a test run in Madison, Wisconsin. And now he is choosing to leave the Midwest, leave the cold.
Do you feel like you're going to get some haters in Texas? Like, you're going to get maybe some people that are doing concrete coatings down there that are going to write shitty things on our Facebook page because they're like, we don't want a TSR in Texas.
If you're the best, people always hate, Joey.
Yeah,
So
and you're coming and you're backed by the largest residential concrete coating company in the unofficially universe.
Yeah. Can you start that from now on by saying undisputed?
Undisputed.
I've been watching the Notorious McGregor documentary, and he likes
the undisputed reigning champion of the United States of America residential TSR concrete coatings company. All right, yeah. Sorry, guys.
started with undisputed.
So, what does this look like? What is the timeline? How quickly do we get Parker to Texas? He hasn't even got past one trailer in Madison.
Well, we're getting ready to.
it's going to heat up fast.
We're gonna crank it up. So his little buddy Cap's gonna want to follow him down there as soon as possible because they're glued to the hip.
Until I have to fire him.
And here we go.
Can we get a camera turned on Sean right now?
We've got to. We're gonna move Chris Stichter from Lena up to Madison. So he was in Lena, and then he went and he was down in Bloomington with Josh for a while. He has since come back. He's one of them single guys. We just keep moving him around, and it works to his and our advantage.
Yeah.
But he's gonna go up there, be that second crew with Parker and Cap. And then we're going to build from there. I mean, Taylor, that took over for Josh selling up in Madison, has done a great job, and our clients are super happy there. So we're going to get to probably three installation units in Madison by the end of May, and then Parker's getting shipped out in either June or July. So
Wow. That's awesome.
I'm ready.
I love it. That's so cool. E-Mark was wrong. Let it be known. Well, I guess.
Oh, yeah, we still got some time.
We still got some
Come on.
time.
You
shouldn't be saying that, though.
He could catch me not at the right place with my GPS tracker on the truck. Like, he texts me every other week.
Just be ready for that first year.
yeah, the first year's tough.
Yeah.
You you don't like that I message you every night? Why are you driving? What are you doing? Where are you at? Why are you in Cary, Illinois?
With my truck.
Yeah, you're not getting over. Jeff.
And he calls you, and it's like, I'm laying in
I'm
bed,
not kidding
Jeff.
you.
It's Cap that's got the truck.
So all of our trucks have a GPS locator on them, and they ding at 7 p.m. if they get started or they're running, because there's no reason for that, right? Unless they're on a job and it's late, whatever. So I look at Parker's, and I'm like, why are you in Madison at 4? Okay. And I'm like, why are you in Cary, Illinois? What are you doing?
I'm just broing out with the bros.
I'm like following his GPS on the map. I'm like, this makes no sense. What are you doing? So apparently he went to go work for Derek. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he's not just booling, just chilling. But so some things to throw out. We did figure out how to record podcasts remotely. We've been working on this actually for another client that we work with now, trying to figure out how to record, because he's doing a podcast hosting with a woman who lives in California and he lives in Dixon. So maybe at least for the beginning, for something the listeners can potentially look forward to, and we'll figure out even if you even make it that far. But maybe we could even track maybe not every other week, but track some of his progress as he's actually growing that Austin location.
Yeah,
That might be something cool as well.
that would be kind of neat to see. Like, how's it going down there? Like,
Yeah.
we have to wear headsets, David.
Yes, we do.
We do. We all have to wear them.
You want to wear a headset.
I have a really nice Alienware one.
One podcast, we will be taking a trip to the beach and just chilling with our shirts off.
We're
on the
coming.
beach.
Like, yeah,
That'll
we're going to
happen.
come for one episode for sure, no matter what.
Yeah.
Pay for our own flights, don't worry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, whoa. It's not in the budget.
Yeah.
That Austin account ain't paying for
Well,
it, I'll tell you
actually,
that.
yeah, Austin's account has to pay for it. You have to figure out how to fund that. So go sell a $16,000 job, get it all up front, and we'll talk then.
No, it's crazy to see how far each individual location has come, but then also the power in numbers, right? So
Yeah.
how we're able to combine everything and really be a force, and especially with creating our own product line and things like that. So we're super excited to conquer Texas, because I think that once it doesn't matter whether it's Dallas or Austin or San Antonio or Houston or whatever, I know that we'll do a great job down there, and then it's just the cities will fall like dominoes at that point.
Man, this is so exciting. Thank you guys so much for listening this far. It has been another hour-long episode, but you guys have seemed to like these episodes. We know this clickbait title is going to get you to listen to this one. It is going to be you're not going to want to miss what's coming up in the future, because even though he's made a decision to go to Austin, a lot can change. A lot can happen in these next months. He could still decide he doesn't want to do it. Decide it's not working out for him. These things could all happen, as Emark was trying to predict in the future or in the past. Thank you again so much, Josh, for being on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Do you have any last words?
No, just
last words for the audience.
Congratulations, and if we can ever help you, if we have any questions, I'm always here to answer anything I can answer.
That's so
I
cool.
appreciate that.
Jeff, any closing thoughts, final thoughts?
We're taking over the South.
Let's go.
We're coming south. We're tired of the snow.
Parker, any closing thoughts?
No, I would just say tell the listeners to keep listening. I didn't sign my blood yet, so we aren't for sure going to Texas, but it's
okay.
99% sure.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. My mom keeps listening to this.
Also, speaking of moms, your mom was talking to me earlier today, Jeff,
She didn't like that call out.
and she literally said, I listened to that whole episode. And she's like, I guess I'm coming on the show. And she was starting to talk to me about her reasonings for pushing college on you so hard. And she actually had some interesting reasons, but I told her to stop. I respectfully told her to stop talking and save it for the show.
Say, shut your mouth.
But she said she's coming on. So is that going to be the next episode? We're gonna have your mom on the show.
I think she listened to the whole episode. I gave her the call out and the challenge, and we'll see what she has to say. I think that some people have said some things about me and my mom. One of her responses is always, just remember who created that monster.
I've heard that a couple times.
That's wild.
So
Yeah, Josh, have you listened to these episodes?
Oh yeah.
Have you listened to how they end?
I've listened to them all, but you're talking about like the heading.
Just how it ends completely. I want you to shut it down for us if you can.
So this has been another episode of When I Grow Up.
we'll
We will
see you
all
on the next episode.